morning everybody. Today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you how I knit my heel flap, heel turn, picking up the gusset stitches and then doing the toe decreases on a sock. I've been asked a lot if I could show this. So what I've done is first of all I've knit an entire sock just so you can see what it is we're aiming to get. I've knit this one in an Aran weight. I would always suggest that if it's your first sock, knit it in a heavier weight, an Aran or a worsted, because it goes super quick, but it will teach you all the elements that you need to know to knit the whole sock, and then you can decide from there if you enjoy it whether you want to try a fingering weight one. So this, like I said, this is the complete sock. So what I've done is I have on the second sock I cast on 44 stitches. I then knit 10 rounds of 2x2 ribbing and 20 rounds of plain stocking stitch. It's entirely up to you the proportions of these, how you want to knit them. Some people prefer a really deep cuff and some a thinner one. It's entirely up to you. That's just what I've done for this purposes. So 10 rounds 2x2 rib, 20 rounds of stocking stitch. This sock is knit using the magic loop method. I will at some point be doing one on double pointed needles, but this is how I've been knitting my sock for the past 3 years probably on magic loop. So it made sense for me first of all to show you using this method, and a lot of people haven't knit socks on magic loop. So I have previously showed you how to cast on and how to knit the magic loop method, so that's why I've pre-knit to this point, so I can then just go ahead and show you the heel flap is what we're going to start with. So let's just move that sock out of the way. I've knit this using West Yorkshire Spinners. As you all know, I really like this yarn. It's the Air Valley Aran. And I think the colourway is Crocus, but I could be entirely wrong with that, but that's the colourway number. Okay, so here we are ready to start the heel flap. Now the pattern will tell you whether you start with a knit row or a purl row on your heel flap. Generally I tend to start knitting on the back needle, so my heel flap is going to come out from this back needle. Some patterns will tell you to knit it from the front needle, but you just need to follow your pattern. But I just made up this pattern. It isn't one that you can find anywhere. It's just for demonstration purposes. So our heel flap is basically a 2-row repeat. On the first row we're going to slip the first stitch, purl all the way across. Then we're going to turn our work. We're going to slip that first stitch again, and then we're going to do knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one all the way across. So I'll go ahead and start that. So because we're knitting on this back needle, we pull out our front needle and then we're purling, so just bring that yarn forward. So we slip the first stitch and then we purl all the way across. Okay, so we've purled that row. We then turn our work, so we're now knitting flat basically. Oops, sorry. We're knitting flat now rather than in the round. The other thing I need is a little row counter, so we'll just zeroise that. So I've just done that first row, so we click. Now on the knit row, what we do, again, we always slip the first stitch when you're doing your heel flap, and you slip it as if to purl. We slip the first stitch as if to purl, and then we knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one, and we do that all the way across. Knit, slip, you get into a little rhythm. Knit, slip, knit, slip. And what this does, by slipping those stitches, it gives you a denser fabric on the back because when you slip it and then knit it, that yarn, you're bringing that yarn across the back, you can see here, and that produces a denser fabric on the back and makes the heel flap that bit stronger, because that's where it gets the most wear. Okay, so we've finished that row and we ended on a knit. We do a little click for our row and we turn. So those 2 rows are what we repeat, and we repeat those 2 rows 11 times, so it's 22 rows. Now most all patterns will tell you how many rows to do on the heel flap, but the general rule of thumb is that you do the same number of rows as you've got on your as number of stitches that you've got on your needle. So in this case, on one needle we've got 22 stitches, so we're going to do 22 rows on a heel flap. If you're doing a standard fingering weight 64 stitch sock, you would have 32 stitches on this needle, so you would do 32 row heel flap. So we're back now to a purl row. So we slip that first stitch and purl all the way across as we did before. Okay, so that's our purl row. We turn our work. Sorry, I'm trying not to clank the needles, it's kind of tricky. Click for a row and then do your knit row again. So slip one, purlwise, knit one, slip, knit, slip, knit. And this creates like a little row of slip stitches down the back of your heel. I'll show you, I'll just get to the end of this row and I'll show you on the other sock what it looks like. It's very pretty. There's all different types of heels that you can do, but this is the kind of basic heel that you will find in most sort of vanilla sock type patterns. So that's that one, and click. So what we're creating, if you look on this sock, you can see these are the rows of slip stitches that we've been doing. And then, like I said, on the back, if you feel the heel, it does feel more sort of cushy than just your normal stocking stitch, and that's because this is where you get the most wear, so you really need to make this area as strong as you can. So I'll go ahead and finish this heel flap, finish the 22 rows, and then we'll come back and we will do the heel turn.